Okay, it's been a little while since I've done a video. Been doing some other projects, but I know on some of the older truck forums they're trying to figure out a way to run a speedometer behind one of the old gauge faces. So I got got a Impala cluster, I got a Camaro cluster, and I start to look at it. And the stepper motors, which are these, they're $2 a piece on eBay. Put a piece of painter's tape on there as a needle. There's some questions about whether you can run them directly off an Arduino. And this is an Arduino Nano. So the stepper costs about $2, and then the Arduino costs about $2. And you can program them to do pretty much anything and everything. So, for example, for now, I wanted to have like a temperature gauge or like oil pressure or something like that. Well, the easiest thing I come up with is a GM map sensor, and I'm running ground 5 volts and A0 is the input. And then I just got some vacuum hose hooked up to it. So you guys can see when I plug it in, it'll go through a self-test. And then after that, based on either the pressure or the vacuum on the map sensor over there, the needle will move. Code's a little bit jerky, so the needle bounces around a little bit, but I'm working on that. So we'll plug it in basically to 5 volts to a cell phone charger. This will run off anywhere from 5 volts all the way up to 30 volts. So it does its self-test thing. Like I said, the needle's a little bit jumpy, but so the vacuum hose that's on there is going to loop around. And I'll just put a little bit of pressure on it, and you can see that the needle will go counterclockwise with pressure. And I'm just blowing in the end of the hose. And then on the vacuum side, it'll go clockwise. So eventually I want to get this set up where I can hook up either a vehicle speed sensor from like a 4L60E or 4L80E, measure the frequency, and then have that go for the swing on that, have it calibrated for your tire size, gear ratio, and then eventually set it up where I have a GPS module, which are about $4 on eBay, plugging it into here, having this run the gauge cluster, and then have a organic LED run the actual display. So I'll show you what those look like. You can change the font on these. Get that sucker plugged in. So right now this is just running a HTU 21 little temperature, and I can tell it how often I want to update. So it's 70 degrees in my garage, 24% humidity. So what I can do is I can have this be the odometer, and it would save and store the odometer reading in the EEPROM on the Arduino Nano, and then run the needle, will run the speedometer. So kind of a affordable way to have a dash cluster, and then you could do oil pressure, battery voltage, fuel gauge, pretty much any type of gauge. Anything 0 to 5 volts, or you can scale it either way you want to go. So just kind of a quick rundown on that.